So we have another Cadisen right here. Is this one any good? This doesn't cost too much money. It's not actually a proper dive watch, so bear that in mind. It's a dress diver or a desk diver. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's for people that just work at a desk and are never going to go diving, but like the look, don't want to spend too much money. Is this going to fit the bill? Well, stick with me and you'll find out. Stats and specs next, and then we'll get stuck into the analysis. See you in a moment. It's very easy for the Chinese to make a watch with a decent specification. There's going to be a few things that are going to let it down. That is where people like me come in, and I can hopefully enlighten and help you to whether this is going to be an appropriate watch for you to wear at work or wherever else you decide to have fun and live your life. I'm going to discuss, first of all, the things I would deem dislikes. It's a bit unfair to say dislikes. I really am discussing things that I think could be improved upon, but it's a bit, again, being picky, because this is a cheap watch, but I'll do it anyway. First of all, bezel action. Very tricky, especially with these gloves on. Pretend you're a deep sea diver. Ridiculous for a desk diver, but let's just go with this. Let's just be silly. Let's be crazy. You're trying to turn your bezel. This is not easy. There's no grip on this. I'm going to take my glove off. Very light, very cheap feeling, slightly, don't know. It just feels like a slightly cheap feeling bezel action. It just feels very light, very tacky sounding. That's again an awful word to use, tacky, but it does feel cheap. I mean, Cadisen do great jobs with their fit and finish on all their watches, this one included. Screw down crowns feel great, all that stuff. But the next best thing when it comes to tactile aspects, apart from obviously the feeling of how the clasp works, etc., would be the bezel action, the main fidget toy for us watch lovers. Is it going to be any good? Is it going to be something that's satisfying? It's going to give you that weird kind of relaxation feeling when you're fiddling with it? No, it just feels a bit cheap. I'm going to get my glove back on because it just looks far more professional. Next up, the loom is pretty poor. Again, it's not a dive watch, but they've... Oh, Christ, I was going to... Come on, let's reset this bezel, but it's slippery. As I was saying, the loom, it's crap. Yes, it is crap. But it's a desk diver, what more would you expect? The butterfly clasp is another negative. Reason being, again, if you're going to go for a dive style watch, even though this is obviously not a diver, butterfly clasp is a joke. It's not got any adjustment, any micro adjust, anything. It's one size fits only one person, and that's it. So I'm quite lucky. It fits me okay, so I'll pop it on my wrist to show you. But it's quite loose still. That's it. It's loose or it's too tight, and that's it. Deal with it. Move on. Get on with it. Just live your life. Accept that that's how your cheap watch is going to fit your wrist. That's where this fits in. So yes, it looks more like a dressy piece with this, but is this a dress watch or is it a dive watch? No, it's a desk diver. That's where desk divers come in. Totally non-functional but aesthetically pleasing butterfly clasp. Done very well, I must say. I cannot criticise the build quality of this butterfly clasp. Exceptionally good. Beautiful, in fact. But we're here to talk about the criticisms first. And the next one is this Miyota. Dirt cheap. Rummage around the parts bin, dig it out the bottom, go back in time, time machine, get the most basic cheapo Miyota movement, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. You get one of these, the 8215. It's just so very basic, but still very reliable, very functional, does the job, and what you don't get is hacking, but you do get hand winding, and it's rugged and reliable. Keeps reasonable time. I can't really fault it for functionality. I'm being a real picky person for saying it's anything other than totally acceptable at this price point. At the end of the day, this is a cheap watch. What do you expect? Now the thing is, the colour of the hands doesn't quite match the colour of the indices. The indices have got a slightly creamy, milky texture. Not texture, the texture of milk. How can you tell that from looking at it? Anyway, no, the colour. The colour of the indices and the colour of the hands, not quite the same. just makes the hands look a bit like they're an afterthought, which I would say they are considering how poor the loom is. Also, there's an ever so slight alignment issue. Look at this marker here at the 35. As you can see, it doesn't quite line up with that. In a Untitled Chapter ring there, it doesn't quite line up there. If you look at the 30, we're bang in the middle there. Line is in the middle of the 3 and the 0. But then you get to that marker there, it's just a bit off. The others seem okay. What's the point of having this diver look and actually no diver capabilities? What is the actual point? If you're just going to go for aesthetics, you could get something even cheaper than this. Don't even bother with a mechanical. Just get a Casio Duro and be done with it. But oh, guess what? That is actually a fantastic watch for going diving in. I don't know, if you want a mechanical watch that looks pretty, wears well, interesting colours and a pretty dial, just go and buy it. It's fantastic. But if you're actually going to worry too much about diving, obviously don't. But most of us don't go diving, so it's a bit of a weird one because it's a dive style watch that is useless for diving, but who actually cares? Anyway, that's enough about my moaning about this watch, because the positives are actually extremely good for this watch, because I must always consider the price point of this piece. And the first thing is the styling. This is a gorgeous looking little watch. I just think it's really nicely proportioned. About a 40mm case size. Everything is laid out really neatly. The legibility is great. A lovely wavy dial. I do like that. That's really interesting. You can get it with or without this wavy dial feature. It's got elements of Omega about it, but it's not too close to that. There is obviously homage status with these kind of pieces. It does have that kind of homaging going on, especially with that wavy dial, but it's not a total clone. This is a kind of watch you can have as a beta, which looks pretty. Blue, we can get a black one, things like that. Finishing. That is another huge plus. Considering the price, people love the spec, but it's also nice to have that perceived quality by having really good fit and finish. The polishing on this is really good. Very smooth, very consistent. And Cadisen are absolutely nailing their brushing at the moment. It is amazing. Really smooth, very neat, very consistent. No rough patches, no coarse patches. Underneath the bracelet even here. Really neatly done. It's super fine. And polishing as well, I'll go back to that again, it is really good. The way you can tell with good polishing or not is if it's smooth or not, if it has many ripples, if you can see any imperfections in it when it catches the light. And the fact you get sapphire, you get ceramic, you get a Japanese automatic movement from Miyota, you got that reliability, really good all-rounder. Practicality as well. It does have 100 meters water resist. Does have a screw down crown, so it is going to be very water resistant. For jumping in the pool, you can change the strap out if you don't like the bracelet because the fitment's rubbish. You could put it on a rubber strap easily, or a NATO or something like that. Really easy to make this fit into your life. The price of this is outrageously good. This is where Cadisen are taking the market a little bit more in their favour at the moment. Cadisen make the best finished pieces at this price point, without a doubt, in my opinion. Because the other guys, they've jumped the prices up a bit and then they've got their QC a bit sloppy. Cadisen, although it has its flaws with the loom and the bezel action, etc., and the stupid pointless butterfly clasp, is still for the money, awesome fun. If you want something just as a daily beater or something you can just chuck on when you go on holiday, you can't go wrong with one of these. And before I completely forget, I had to quickly show you, if you don't want the bracelet because it doesn't fit you very well, you can always upgrade the strap. And that's where I come in. Bit of product promotion here. This is a brand new item. I've got to pull my finger out and get this on the store because this is a new type of FKM quick release rubber, which has got the proper vintage rally style tropic, and it's awesome. It's got this lovely taper and I think it works really well with this. Let's check it out on the wrist. As you can see, it's got plenty of extra material, 2 keeps, nice brushed hardware, fits my 7-inch wrist beautifully. Ooh, very nice. But you know what, as this is a desk diver and you don't want to get it wet, how about we try it on a leather? This is a nice example what I think works so well with blue. Let's check that out. Look at this. This is the vintage Crazy Horse. Gorgeous saddle leather, and it's got this catch stitch here, really nicely done, sealed edges, lovely soft finish. It is so immediately comfortable straight out of the bag. Very nice, and I think it works beautifully with this blue. What do you guys think? As you can see, still plenty of material. Strap is long enough for my wrist on a 40mm watch. Other colours again available. Check out my store. Yeah, thanks for looking. If you are in the market for something that just looks pretty, is reasonably well made, and is good for swapping the straps out and you can personalise it to your tastes without spending too much, this is a fantastic watch and I would recommend it. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, thumbs up, comments, all that stuff. It'd be a pleasure to speak with you in the comments and see you in the next one. In the meantime, bye for now.